Last week, the brick thing was amazing.
Mine's working.
Huh?
I learned so much. We're driving through down, I said to John, you see that? That's got a problem, and this has got theirs, and he's going, huh?
At least it says I'm connected.
How was the crowd?
It was good. It was about the same as it had been the week before.
Okay.
So,
Good.
and some new people,
Yeah.
some
I got my live,
residents,
I ordered,
like us, them.
loaded my packet in a good reader, so I got it. It's just,
Oh, I know.
The next one's
May 4th, and it's, Brian's one of the guys that
much.
talk about investing.
lot of,
And
well,
unfortunately, I'm having my
are we,
elementary school reunion that Saturday, so
on
I
the
won't
regular
make
meeting,
that
are
one.
we,
I know, well, none of us liked high
not
school, we
approving
liked high
that
school.
Oh.
So, but
zoning down by the
elementary school was
river
fun, and it got them coming
for
from California.
homeless shelter?
And Florida,
Oh, you got a lot of call support.
it's cool.
Is that,
Like to call to order
gonna
the
rezone
Washington
that?
Historic
They postponed it for
Preservation
May.
Commission meeting for
I'd like to
Monday,
go to that
April
meeting tomorrow
15th
night and find out what they're gonna do.
We've started.
at 6 o'clock.
No, it
Can we
is
have
6.
roll call, please?
Jamie's not gonna be here.
I figured.
Okay.
All right, Carolyn Witt,
Here.
Steve Struberg, Brian Vogue,
Here.
Rick Hopp,
Here.
Danielle Grotwheel, Jamie Holtmeyer, Andrew Clary,
Here.
Bridget Kelch, Joe Holtmeyer,
Here.
Mark Hydrich, Susan Waterman, Sal Maniaci,
Here.
Tom Nelden.
Okay, if you'd rise and join me for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. This may be early to bring this up initially, but are we going to meet quarterly from now on? Are we meeting next month?
That was the initial
Yeah.
conclusion we came to, but I think,
Well, for right now, yeah, we're gonna meet quarterly and then meet as needed.
So, we've met, since we made that decision, we've continued to meet every month. So are we on for May? Should we skip that unless something comes up?
Yeah, no, I think we'll go on the general what quarterly would be. We just met last month because we had to.
Right.
So next month would be off?
Yeah.
Okay, I just,
thought May was our original quarterly date. Look at my notes here.
well, if you'd look that up and let us know,
Yeah, it's
because,
right here. We had, for quarterly, it would be February, May, August, and November.
okay,
So May would be our usual quarterly.
That's fine.
okay, so,
Have a May meeting?
That's fine, yep.
so we will meet next month.
Okay.
But then we won't meet again until August?
Right.
Right, okay.
Yes, February, May, August, and November.
Okay, terrific. So, if everyone perused the minutes, is there a motion to approve or any discussion?
Yeah.
There's a move.
I'll second.
We have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. New business, Wild Sparrow Gift Shop. Oh, this is good. You know personally about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I
Happens
don't
to be in
think,
Brian's building, so.
I don't think there's too much to go over. I think Jamie sent it off in time for us all to look at it, but I mean, that's the awning that she's doing. She's also going to be doing some other signage, but she didn't quite have that ready, and she wants to get on the awning. So, so yeah, I mean, if anybody has any comments on it,
I know it's not here, but she did say she was in support of it.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that is a style that is
Mhm.
correct for the, I mean, it isn't a bubble.
right.
Are they in there doing business yet?
No, they're right now the unit's being painted and new flooring is being put down. But then as soon as that's done, she's ordered a lot of the shelving and all of that, so she'll be setting up pretty soon.
Okay.
I think her original open date was to try to be open sometime in April, but now I think it's going to be May.
Nice.
But most likely before Winefest weekend. So
Excellent.
Good deal.
yeah, but she'll also be doing a blade sign. We have the original wrought iron bracket
Yes.
that used to be up there that the blade sign will be hanging on. Probably more.
Holes right above the awning.
It was, but I think it's going to be hanging more toward the front of the building so that you can better see it from Front Street.
Right.
Yeah, and then she's going to do like a sandwich board sign down on Front Street as well. So,
That's good.
but I think that she'll have to probably come back again for the blade sign. But yeah,
Well, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, and that's a good location because you're on the corner there, so you get,
Yeah, I think it's actually, and I think bright yellow was a good choice because, the side of that building does tend to get lost a little bit. So I think that'll be,
yes, makes the
Good
door
choice.
pop.
yeah.
Yeah, really does. That's good. Are there any other comments? Can I have a motion to issue a certificate of review?
Also motion.
I'll second.
And a second.
Okay.
I want you to know I appreciate you guys. That's great. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. I will issue the certificate of review. Old business, International Shoe Factory. We're just-
I haven't heard from them in a while. I mean, it's not scheduled to be completed till August for the third and final phase, and then we have to take a year off for before they can come back and submit the entire district as a whole. So we'll see.
Okay, terrific. Education conferences, I attended, which thanks to you and your funding, I attended the Main Street meeting in Seattle, and I went to 3 specific that were very useful. One was cultivating community to save a theater. I know, I love to rub salt in the wounds. And they had established an LLC that they had funded through donations, and they sold 60, do you believe this is major, 60 at $10,000 each, a lot of bread, and they were able to put this, and this is not tax deductible, this is not a C3, whatever, this was an LLC, and but they managed, they also had a very defined ordinance on demolition by neglect, which we have not really gone into. But, and they had an issue, again, it was an out-of-state owner, and they finally got him to the facility to see that the problems, because he kept blowing it off, well, it'll be fine, and this was in West Virginia, and they had a terracotta front of the building. Well, it's probably the only terracotta building in West Virginia. It's not like Chicago or Kansas City where people knew how to deal with it. So they have concentrated on the internal setup of the theater, and now they are seeking grants and things to help fund this restoration of the terracotta, because the one quote they got from some specialists in New York was more than the building was worth. So they're negotiating with somebody that does more from a historical standpoint, and they're hoping to get some help. But as I said, salt in the wound. Then I went to Surviving and Thriving, a major streetscape project, and thinking in terms of Elm coming down the pike sometime. And it talked about how to nurture your businesses through that sort of thing. Now, Jefferson Street, we didn't have as many businesses when we went through that, and we also had access from other points, versus Elm Street is going to be a challenge, because depending upon how much is closed, we know from example, when we went through the Bank of Washington, that was a big chunk of street that did affect in that block, certain businesses. And my favorite story, which only the women will truly appreciate, but there was a beauty shop and along the street, and one of the contractors broke a water main. So they went around to each store telling them they would be without water for several hours while they fixed it. Well, the beauty shop, there was somebody in the middle of a perm, and chemical on your head that you have to wash off or your hair will all crinkle and die and fall out. So the word went out in the community, and people came with buckets of water that they'd emptied all their bottles in, because a bottle of water ain't going to do it. And they all came with buckets so she could rinse her hair and get the chemical out of her perm. Now, that's a community effort. But all the women in the audience could appreciate that story. But that was really good. They talked about using a back entrances. They ended up coming out with, how we have the trees on Jefferson? Well, the idea was they did raised beds, so then they had seating. People could sit on that if there was an event and you had people downtown. And I thought that was interesting. Someone in the audience who lives somewhere where there's a large homeless population said, you need to watch that, because you want seating, but you don't want living situation. And then the last one I went to was on modernizing Main Street mid-century design, and that was interesting because they talked about how to define mid-century. They talked about glass blocks. They talked about, which we don't have anymore, flat glass, things that qualify as mid-century. And I keep going to things like that because I keep trying to warm up to that. And the neon sign of Old Dutch fit that, even though that's earlier. But it's, as I said, I'm very hard to warm up to things younger than I am. But it was a really good conference. They had a lot of neat stuff. We all had a good time. I mean, you have to balance, you know, the good time and the. Do you have anything to add about the conference? It was Sal also went.
No, I mean, it was really good. We went to some sessions on some public-private partnerships on like RFQs and that kind of stuff, so we got some good examples for Locust Street and for the Waterworks building. I mean, that conference is always well worth it. There's always a lot to learn from, so with the 7 of us that went, hopefully we got some good ideas to implement.
Yeah, it really is a good Main Street and historic preservation, like the National Park Service, the Trust, National Trust, all these things fall together really well at these conferences because it's useful for anybody with an interest. And I do thank you for the funding. I know Bridget is, I think, planning on one of our meetings she's going to bring. She has a very brief slide presentation. One of the things in our Preservation Academy that we held was on bricks. And it was fascinating, and we learned, I mean, we have so many bricks in Washington that it was very useful talking about, and I can't even begin to tell you, but I've already driven through town going, oh, that building really needs work, or look, it's bubbling, or they painted it, or, you know, you learned a lot. And Andrew came to the one on windows,
Yeah.
and so did Brian. And
They're great.
and they did a Russ Vollmer did, and then we also had Gary Filla doing the painting, and it was very good. And there's one more Preservation Academy. It's going to be May 4th, and it's on investment in a downtown building. Both of them deal with economics, and Brian is one of the speakers, and Chris Eckelkamp from the bank, and Andy.
Andy
is going to
Understall,
be
yeah.
there, Andy Understall. And but all of them have dealt with historic buildings and invested in historic buildings. And so I'm hoping that the word gets out enough that anybody that's even thinking about it could come and get some value out of it. And it's excellent because it's $25 to register for the session, but if you're there from 8 until noon, you get $25 back in downtown gift certificates, and you also get a $10 gift certificate to pay for your lunch, and we feed you breakfast. So, and that's a really good thing to.
Sal, you and Bridget, you're doing one with Bridget too, correct?
Yes.
What is that one titled?
The 6th, that incentives for, public incentives for
Okay.
investing.
Okay.
Right, more from where the money.
Yeah,
May
right?
4th.
Oh, May 4th, whatever that Saturday is.
Okay, all right, so
It's
it's
that
the same,
Saturday.
same day.
Same day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, his is, I think yours is the second, the 10 to 12.
Yes.
And the other is 8 to 10.
Yeah.
And both times, both previous sessions, we've gotten out a little earlier. So if you have, that doesn't mess up your Saturday, you know, you're not, and it's been very valuable. Not only have you had a lot of the board meeting, board people, but we've
you
also
wanted
had
to
a
sign
lot
it?
of residents
Yeah.
that have come, that have an interest, that have a house. And that's been really great. They've had some wonderful questions.
Wasn't sure.
I'm just doing a sign-in roll call.
Well, that's great.
Okay.
That's great. Okay,
Carolyn,
yes.
this afternoon, we received an email about the Preservation on Commission, Jeff City,
Oh, yes.
on the 2nd.
The camp,
The forum?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull that up right now.
Yes.
Sorry.
Is anybody planning to go to that? It's a
yes.
one-day event?
Yes,
Yeah.
Bridget and I
There
thought
were
there
2
were
days.
2 days. There's a Thursday and a Friday in May, this first and second, or second and third?
Second and third.
And I think Bridget and I had planned to go on the Thursday. So if anybody else is interested in that.
I've gone before, and it is really good. I mean, the
Yeah.
topics are fantastic.
I was at one many years ago, and I might take you up on going to that.
That would be great, because
Yeah.
it's great to have people to go with.
Okay,
And I think Thursday was the day we were looking.
yeah, that'd be fine.
So,
No.
so that,
What day was that again?
it's Thursday.
May the 2nd.
May 2nd.
All right.
It's in Jeff City, and we leave fairly early. I think it starts at like 9, and it gets out at 4 or 4:30.
Okay.
But usually we get out pretty fast. And it's good. And that also would work for your training, your CLG.
Yeah.
As far as, was there anything else on conferences or the the state Main Street meeting is in July this year, and it's in St. Louis, which is great because if you need training or you have something there that you want to attend, you don't have far to go. And I think it's the 15th or the 17th. Anyway, it's that third week in July. I don't know, I've got that written down somewhere. But it's the third week in July, and as I said, we hosted that here 2 years ago. That's what we hosted here in Washington, but they're back to the big cities, and I think that's a shame, because it was fun to have it locally. And I know Lee Summit wanted to do that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, May 2nd or May 3rd.
That's Jeff City, that's a different one.
Yeah, this is the Jeff City, yeah, that's the camp. And what's nice about the camp versus when I've gone to things in Jeff City and they do it locally, sometimes the speakers are not very intriguing, and when you pull in the trust, you get some really good speakers. So I think it'll be really great. Okay, let me look at July real fast here and see if I've got when that is.
Oh, so I don't think I realized that. It's May 2nd or 3rd.
Yes.
The same agenda each day.
Yes, same agenda each day. Okay, I'm sorry, it's the 24th to the 26th is the Missouri Main Street Connection meeting in St. Louis. And I'm not sure where it is, but I think we're going to be nominated for some awards. So it's always fun to go to the banquet, even if you can't attend any of the other events. The banquet, the award banquet is nice. That'll be the last night. That'll probably be Saturday night. And I love it when we win. That's always good.
Okay, well, I'll let you know.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That's good.
If
Hopefully
J-
some-
We'll send out the registration to both of those to everyone, so you can see the cost of it and the agenda. Just keep in mind, there is some funding to cover your registration cost. And neither of those, you need a hotel, so we should be able to cover the registration. for
And being
everyone.
in town, you can see the schedule ahead of time, so if you don't want to stay in the hotel, you can still, it's close enough, you can run into town.
Right.
Do it.
Yeah, typically for the St. Louis ones, I
Yeah, they wouldn't let
stay
me,
with a friend or come home.
they wouldn't let
Get
me
a
and
hotel.
the library stay in the hotel in St. Louis. You're too close.
It's at the Westin, it looks like.
Oh, at the Westin.
Oh, that's a nice conference center, too.
Yeah.
That's good. That's right downtown.
That's where the APA one always is for planning.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
So, and for the Jeff City one, we can carpool in the Tahoe, so you won't have to worry about gas
See,
either.
that's great. They've done that in the past. Let us take if we had a city employee go, we take a city car, which is always nice.
So,
Okay,
whatever's most convenient for you guys, just let us know. We can try and coordinate that day.
okay. I think we were looking at Thursday. Curb appeal and creating new history, both of those were kind of on hold because our people we haven't seen them in so long. Some of us are new mothers, some of them are new mothers. And budget report,
Nothing's different.
yeah.
Yeah, we haven't spent it. I did submit our budget for next year. It is significantly less, but that is because we have to take a year off from surveys. So we always put $20,000 in there for a survey, 12 of which we try and get from a grant, right? Yeah, and then the 8,000 that we put in ourselves. But so I took that out because obviously we don't have an additional survey. I know we talked about doing the downtown one as a whole, but I don't think we have that. We didn't put that application in this go around, so.
Right.
And it's already been surveyed once.
Yeah.
So last time we resurveyed something, it didn't pan out. It was just kind of, nothing changed. So, but that, other than that, we did put in the same amount for scholarships. I will keep in mind that if it doesn't get used for camp or the July state conference, that may get slashed down, because if it's not used, it won't.
Yeah, and
be
we
put
don't
in.
want that to happen. So please, if you decide to take advantage, you'll be funded.
Oh,
So-
and I did put 4,000 for plaques back in.
Good.
We took
Oh,
plaques out
good.
beforehand. So I put 4,000 back in for plaques
Cool.
and/or other awards.
Cool.
Good.
So,
We talked about doing a preservation award, like the Washington, what was it
Washington
used to call?
Preservation Inc.
Washington Preservation Inc.
Yeah.
used to do. And that was fun because they had like a hors d'oeuvre event, and they would reward someone like, say, Andy for his creating new history, or Tony and her, or Brian, or someone, or even someone with a house that they had done a lot of work to bring it up to speed, but yet respect the historic, excuse me, the historic elements of whatever they own, a business or, the landing lofts, I think, would qualify for something like that. And it was a nice recognition of those people that have put in the effort to, economically, they see that as the game. They're trying to make money, but they're also looking at it from beyond just the dollar and cents to the value of the history. So we may look into, we talked about doing that maybe next year. As I said, we took a year off for the plaques. The Jasper House is amazing. The windows are in.
Yeah.
They're working on the brick. From what I understand, if Sully is there, he's more than happy to show you around. So please, if you see his truck, stop by. He's very proud, which is just amazing. It's just, I heard him say, I'm going to quote him, he said, "I'm going to save Washington one historic building at a time," and more power to you. So that's pretty amazing. If only we could see that kind of revolution happen at the Calvin. And that's always on the agenda, but I understand that they replaced the tarp that blew off?
yeah, John contacted them when it blew off, so I haven't
Yeah.
heard, but.
It's time for the new tarp. Every year we get a new tarp. Okay, is there any other business?
May is Historic Preservation Month, so Mayor Tripman is gonna put that on one of the agendas for council for a mayor's proclamation next month.
Excellent.
So when I get that date, I'll let you.
Yeah, it'll probably be the second one, or no, it'll probably be the first one, because we like to get it out there early enough and say that there's gonna be a hunt. I'm hoping Danielle's still putting together the hunt as she did last year, even though she is part-time. If not, we'll just have to switch it up a little
Well,
bit.
actually, I think the CAP students at the vocational school, or the Career Center, put together the photographs.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, so-
Well, we had an idea to still do the month-long one, but we saw a town, I think while we were in Seattle, that does an actual race. Like, you get teams to sign up for it, and then you do it in a couple hours, and it's actual race, first to finish gets some type of prize.
Wow.
And it was like
That's pretty cool.
It was like
An
an,
amazing race, but
yeah, it was like and it was like an adult version of it. Like, when I say, like, it just, all the teams were adults, and they ended at like a little party.
Right.
That's pretty neat.
That
So,
would be.
and it would
fun.
be really easy to do, because we already have it made.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll talk to Bridget about that. That would be great.
Yeah.
And we could still do the kids one through
Yeah.
the schools.
Because they do it during the day and everything, yeah.
Right.
And we could still, this would just be something we could do on one night. It'd be really easy for us to throw together.
Absolutely. That would be great. Ooh, that's a good idea. Okay. But that is in the works. They are working to put that together. Which was really good because they really got a jump on it. Usually we're, about this time of year, we start panicking, putting together the pictures. Okay, is there any other old business? I can't think of anything. So we'll meet in May and hopefully then take a break until August. The next meeting is scheduled for May 13th. No,
Are we meeting regardless? or if
20th.
we also have
the
an
20th.
we cancel?
Well, how about we play it by ear? If we have nothing new to discuss, we could,
We've had enough meetings in that we would be okay.
yeah,
I would be
we
very
really have-
surprised that we
Okay.
don't have a new 5-story building to look at on Market and Front.
Whoa,
That was supposed to be in, like, last week, and I know Andy went on vacation, so I'm sure it's coming any day now.
right, excellent. Well, then we may have a reason.
Probably have one.
So that would be terrific. And if any.
Because I know we looked at that as a streetscape as a whole,
Yes.
but we did not look at that individually.
Yeah, and I think it's changed quite a bit since then too.
So, you know.
And if anything comes up that needs immediate attention, let us know. Because some people are on a definite time frame and don't want to wait, so. Okay. If there's no other business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion,
I'll
second,
move.
a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
I just
Thank
realized I forgot to make a slide for tonight, so I gotta run upstairs.
Well, that was fast. Email Karen with those dates and
I will, that would be great, that would be great. And it's a fun, I'm getting him to join design committee.
Oh, good.
Yeah, now he can't come next month because he's gonna be gone, but he's gonna get, we'll get dates and send them to you.
Yeah, usually during the day is
Cause see, a lunch would be better than trying come in the evening, I think.
like
so.
tonight, we had all of our taekwondo, put spaghetti in the Instapot, got back, came up here, you know, Lydia has to get to date, so.
We talked about doing one design meeting a quarter at night, and then the other two during the day, continue to do during the day.
That would be good.
Yeah, because we did one at our house during at night.
We had a good
Two
time.
goes, it was fantastic.